What up, YouTube? It's your boy Detroit Love with another video. Today we're going to talk about Arcade1up, one of my favorite arcade video game providers, manufacturers. 2018, they came onto the scene of the home arcade market and just simply blew us away. Over the years, they evolved from a struggling, bumbling company to a company that today provides some pretty fair alternatives to buying a full cabinet to play arcades on. So today we're going to take a look at these guys and see whether it's something you should consider. So, to begin the discussion on whether Arcade1up is valid in the year 2024 and beyond, we have to look back at 2018 when they released the Street Fighter II Champion Edition. Now, undoubtedly, many people have seen ETA Prime's video on how to add a Raspberry Pi to the Street Fighter or Arcade1up cabinet. And this is the cabinet they used, and most of us did the same thing because it simply made sense if you wanted to add all of these games, which in this case it is well over 2,000 games, 2,270 games are on here. Now, this is both vertical and landscape, horizontal and vertical games on here, but I normally hide the horizontal games, the vertical games on this cabinet, and I do the same one for the other vertical machine over there. But we all saw this, and it made sense to get this cabinet because it had 2 players, right? So that opens up a lot of 2-player games like Street Fighter. It had 6 buttons, so that opened up just about any game that used buttons, whether it had 1 button or no button. But if it had 6 buttons, it encompassed all of those games. So it was the cabinet that made sense to mod to add every game to. And so we talk about durability. Before I purchased this cabinet, I, like many of you, was in search of a cabinet that I can walk up to and play the video games that I loved growing up. And so I had looked at many different cabinets from all these other vendors that made these prefab cabinets, and they were different shapes and different heights and different weights, and you could get them to emulate just as close to a real cabinet as if you wanted, or they were somewhere in between this and a full size. And the prices were just outrageous. They were just simply too high to justify, and they weren't going to have very good looking graphics due to licensing. You couldn't get graphics for most of them, or you could send in your own graphics, but whether you had the right grade or megapixels for those pictures determined what the output was going to be. And so when Arcade1up entered the scene in 2018, this is a really nice looking cabinet, nice and sturdy, perfect height for me. I'm 5'7", and so this cabinet is perfect height. People who are taller than me have put, different risers or custom risers to make them a little taller, but for me this was like the perfect size. And so it made sense that I've been wanting a cabinet. I already had a Raspberry Pi configured playing these games, but I was playing them on my TV, or I had them on my computer and playing that way, and that was not fun. I looked at different control panels that had joysticks on it that you can hook up to your TV, but then you're sitting on your chair or your couch and playing, and that's not the experience that I wanted to have. And so I wanted to look at walking up to a cabinet and playing the games. And so when this company came out, there was no doubt in my mind that I would be modding it from day one. Had no desire of playing the built-in games because I already had been used to playing the games. And so in 2024, is it a viable option to purchase your cabinet from Arcade1up? And the answer is still yes. So let's just take a deeper look at this cabinet, because they've only gotten better with their cabinet builds. Now, when I built this cabinet, or when I modded this cabinet, as you can see here, it has a backlit marquee, but at the time, Arcade1up didn't offer that. And so if you're buying a new one today, it will most likely have that. They do have some classic versions available without risers that you can get for around $300 today that won't have the backlit marquee. And if that's something you want to do, there's still third-party vendors out there making those marquees available, and so you still have a lot of options. TA Prime had done, I put the LED buttons on to my cabinet, and I've not been displeased with that. I have modded several cabinets over the years, probably a dozen for people locally here, and I put the LED buttons in as well. Now at the time, I've made some changes to mine that ETA Prime didn't do. Like he went with the, I believe he added a different audio system. I just have a speaker bar on the back, and it's out of sight, and it sounds fantastic. This is about as low as it can go, but this thing can go get pretty high. You can turn it off if you want. I also, hooked up the buttons so that you can power the unit on and off and control the volume from the stock buttons. I also added a real coin door. I still have the additional buttons that ETA Prime has suggested, but instead of being for coin, they are for the hotkey, so you can get out of the games. And I made some modifications, as you can see over here with my tape job here. Over the years, this has come out, and I can put some glue and put that back on, or I have a roll of this tape. I can actually redo that. But why? It's an arcade. Arcades are supposed to be imperfect, right? And show their age and wear. But at the time when this cabinet came out, many of us with the oils on our hand, we wore out our graphics on this, and Arcade1up came out with this little plastic that they offered free for us, and that and they gave us new covers, and so that resolved that. And you can see 2024, there is no wear and tear on it, because you have this protector, deck protector they called it. But you see I have my rolls of quarters, because I like putting actual quarters in. And so let's just take a look at that if we just back out of this. And now again, 2,200 games on here. Let's just pick something, go to last played, and we'll pick one of my favorites, Joust. Now normally I put this thing in the kiosk mode where you can't get access to all of them. Now you see my screen's pretty dirty there. But I like actual coin doors, and this light on this one is a little finicky. I got to figure out what's going on with that. Probably the cable is just loose. But you see it by default, it's got, you can't see any position, so you can see the credits and the door insert. So you see it by default, I have a program to give you 4 credits. But if I want additional credits, I actually put quarters in. Okay, and now I have 5 credits. And so I like that, especially when you're playing fighting games. The counter starts to go down. You got to grab your quarters and put them in before that time expires. That's part of the arcade experience for me. Additionally, on this machine, I have the Tulsa backlit riser. That thing looks incredible. If I had the lights off, you can see that, but you can still see it's lit up, no problem with all this light being shown on it as well. Okay, but this is held up. I've added additional things like this cup holder for a beer bottles. I've added. You see here, I got the USB, so you can play console games if you want. You can do some programming right here on the spot if you want to change some things. So you can plug in 2 joysticks or some USB peripherals. Let's see, what else can I say about this cabinet? That's pretty much it. It's held up, no problem. And so there's you don't have to have any fear of, oh, people say, oh, these things are toys, or these things, aren't as good as the original video cabinet, video game cabinets, arcade cabinets. They're fine. Now, you see, I forgot to put one of my circle dust covers on here. But it holds up. Not a problem. Not a problem to be able to play. Let me just step over here. See what you can see. Uh-oh. So no problem to play what you want to play. Any of the arcades you want to play, you can play. Without a problem. You want to exit, you got your hotkey and your player 1 button, and you're out. And so this is a Raspberry Pi. Let's take a look in the back of it. It's been a while since we've been back there. Let's go take a look. All right, so let's just turn the volume down or off while we're back here. And so all of these cabinets have gone through modifications over the years. Back in the day, I had this light which I could turn on and see back here. But once I put you can see the light, all this light's coming from the backlit marquee. I don't need, I wouldn't need this light anymore. But you see I got the Raspberry Pi here, easy access to the card. You always want to have a backup of your image, just in case something goes haywire. My video converter, because this is the stock monitors. A lot of people upgrade their monitors. I hadn't done that on any of my cabinets, though that is a great option if you want a bigger screen. The controls for the keyboards. Most of all my adhesives have held the test of time. You see my cables are bound up there. You see my power cable there. I use the original tray that covered the original control panel as a coin tray. So when the coins are deposited, you see the back of the coin door there. They go right into that tray. Look like one got a little loose there. The particular third party that I used, they had a switch here that you can turn off that light if you want it. But other than that, you got your USB cables going for your joysticks and for the USB socket I have up there. I did a video on this coin door install and the Tulsa board that allowed that to happen without you having to cut your original. But that's it. Nothing fancy. If I go up there, you'll see the back of the... Here's that speaker I talked about. It's a little dusty, you see back here, but over the years I started clipping off, as you can see down there on Galaga. I clipped off this little tabs, this little piece here on these. But that was a great thing. Sometimes I put those inside just to make them cleaner. But that's inside. the Raspberry Pi, I believe that's probably a 2 or 3. You don't need a whole lot. It's a 32 gig micro SD card that holds all those 2200 games. So you don't need a whole lot. All the power's on the strip, single strip. Strip comes out here, goes onto a smart switch. I can turn them all on and off. There you have it inside. I've definitely gotten better with my wire management over time, but this was the original 2018 build, and I had a remote control. That's for the light on the Tulsa backlit. What do you call it? The backlit riser. So there you go, inside the back of the cabinet. So in conclusion on whether Arcade1up is still a viable option for your home arcade in 2024 and beyond, I would say if you can find one, buy one, because they definitely are a good enough product to satisfy that desire of yours to have a arcade cabinet in your home. You don't have to have as many as I do. You can get one, and this is proof. The OG original Arcade1up cabinet that started in 2018, still today in 2024, it's still going strong. If it was as is, it was still here. I still have other cabinets that I made no modification to that are still going strong, and I'm still able to walk up, hit a button, and get to playing. And that's what you want to be able to do. I did want to bring attention to this cool little keychain, which I have the keys, because this is a real coin door, so I can, these little keys can easily get misplaced. So these is New Wave Toys. They have this 25-cent backlit keychain. If you have a real coin door, this is really nice. This is really nice and solid. This is metal. Okay. There's the New Wave Toys. That is pretty cool. And that keeps this thing from getting misplaced. And it's like, what are these keys for? Well, you know they're for coins, right? Coin doors. So that's pretty cool. But this cabinet will last through the years. No problem. And when people make the argument about, why don't you just get a real arcade cabinet? Well, a real arcade cabinet is much bigger than this, much heavier than this, much more expensive than this, and worse shape normally than this would be in. This would be brand new if you bought it, or even if you bought it secondhand from someone. It's still going to be not as old as a 40-year-old original arcade cabinet. And all the arcade cabinet is a wood structure that holds a screen, holds some controls, and have a computer that can emulate these or play these games. Some type of coin mechanism, whether real or a button to do so. Either way, you're able to do everything you need to do. So if you want to get a real arcade cabinet, that's perfectly fine with you. Do your research on what that's going to involve. If something goes wrong, are you going to have the ability or access to someone that knows how to fix it? This is a Raspberry Pi. It just freaking works. If you just have a backup of your image, you can back it up onto your computer, and even if this whole Raspberry Pi system died, you can just buy a new one and stick your card in it, and you'd be up and running again. So that's not really a big deal. So the maintenance is much lower. The opportunities for failure is less. It's Arcade1up. Over the years, they've proven that they sometimes make mistakes, and so that's why you have a warranty, and that's why you can take it back to the store. So if it's not going to work, it's not going to work out the gate, most likely, like anything that's warranted. They know how long it's going to last. So if it fails within that time, that's something that's unusual. And then let's talk about people talk, well, that's just a toy. Well, and most people are saying that are just saying that because they heard somebody else say it. They're not talking about from a logical standpoint. Most time when people say it is a toy, that's typically in reference to things like hobby grade things. Let's say like a drone. Let's say a drone. You'll have a toy drone, and you can have hobby grade uh, drones, and you can have professional drones, right? And there's going to be a cost difference. The toy is going to be very inexpensive, but with the toy, it cannot be repaired, it cannot be fixed. If it breaks, it's broken, right? That's what really stick. When someone says a toy, that's what they're talking about. And so you can't look at these as a toy, because if these things was something to go wrong, Arcade1up makes parts available for you to purchase. If you modified it, then obviously it's, you can repair that. And if you put a computer in or anything like that, obviously that's repairable. So this is just a wood box with controls. You can put in the same controls that they would have in a real arcade machine. The only thing that you wouldn't typically have in this type of thing is a real CRT monitor. And so that's going to be totally different. But everything else, even the ROMs in some cases are going to be identical. And if the variants that a ROM version of a game is going to present to you is a problem for you, then you're not even here to having this discussion. But if a ROM version, emulated version of the game is perfectly fine for you to play, then now we're just talking about the cabinet in which it contains. Is this size screen fine? Is the size of the cabinet fine with you? Are these controls, again, you have total control. If you mod it, you have total control to take out these controls and put in better controls. If not, are the built-in controls adequate to be able to play the games that they have? In most cases, that's going to be absolutely yes. But if you still feel like something's missing, you can always change those out. And the third-party support, now that's again, when you talk about a toy means you have limited options outside of the manufacturer. If the manufacturer can't make it, then you're screwed, right? That's not the case with Arcade1up. You have third-party vendors that can make different, because even Arcade1up made less quality backlit marquees or missing logos that people want to have. You have third-party vendors that make those things available. You can get custom control panels even. If you just want to take out the control panels, keep the original, you have a lot of options of faux coin doors that are backlit and actually function at whatever level that you want to get to. There are enough third-party vendors out here that are making things available for you to be able to modify, upgrade, make your cabinet the way you want it. And so that's what makes Arcade1up, not on their own, but with the support of the community, still a viable option in 2024 and beyond. This is Carl Brooks, Detroit Love. I appreciate you taking time to stop by and take a look at this video. Let me know your thoughts about toy versus real arcade cabinet, real arcade cabinet versus 3/4 scale, the third party support. Who are your favorite vendors? Who have you added modifications to, and what did you purchase? Let me know. Most people at the beginning frown about the cost, no matter what that cost, whether it was $200, $75, the people that got the fire sales, and even today for someone paying $500. Most people groan about that, but then they add more money into it, customizing it, making it what they want. So money is not always the issue. Is getting the product to look and feel and act the way you want, and you have those options with the Arcade1up product. I appreciate you. I want to hear what you have to say in the comments. I want you to share this video so that your buddies can come in and give their 2 cents. And if you know someone considering buying one, send them this video link so they can see what the options are, whether these cabinets can hold up over the years. And let's do that for each other. Before you go, make sure you hit that like button. And until next time, guys and gals, I'll see you on the web.
Thanks for watching Detroit Love. Please subscribe to the channel, like and share the video. We want to see and read your comments below. And until next time. I'll see you on the web.